So, Alex, you have broken Skool history by having two communities in the top 20 on the Skool Games leaderboard. What the heck are you doing, man? One community's not enough. It's like, why are you pumping two?
So look, honestly, you have to have a low ticket and a high ticket.
Yeah.
So I actually deliver on my low ticket. Back in the day, I did it when I was first starting, when I was first starting coaching, I would do it as an upsell, right? Because we see it all over the industry. It's an upsell. Our goal is to get them into the high ticket. Although that is in the back of my mind, what I do want to do as well is deliver on the low ticket as well, because there's a lot of people in there and there's a lot of people that need help. And a lot of times we think about ourselves, and when you start thinking about others and realize that, hey, the low ticket for people that really just they can't afford it. Like I don't want to shove a big group, like $1,000 price level group or a $700 price level group down somebody's throat when they only have $500. Because I run a crypto community to invest in crypto. So I'm like, look, in crypto, you can turn small amounts like $500 into like 50,000. I've seen it with my own eyes and I've done it myself. So I'm like, okay, if I could really deliver on the low ticket, then people it will show in reality. It shows in reality. It shows in the income, but it shows in reality in general. So,
well, I mean, the dream scenario is that your low ticket there, as you call it, CoinPix Army, is $50 a month. Yeah. And if your program does what it says it's going to do, then people will be able to afford the high ticket based on the results you give them.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to 100x everybody's portfolio, but people are doing well in crypto. People are definitely doing well, and they will be able to afford it. And I'll probably make a third group in the future. I've done this in the past, but yeah, this is not my first or second cycle in crypto, and I'm just trying to maximize it. And this is why the Skool platform is so beautiful. The way it's created is so amazing. I used to have like almost 20 coaches at one point in my groups. Now I could do it all myself, and people, they have a lot of gratitude for that because I'm actually directly coaching them. And I wasn't able to do this before. With Discord, like people don't even know, what does Discord mean? Discord mean argument. That's what it means. It means argument. So like they're going on this platform, right? And we're supposed to be educating people, but it's like the whole platform is created for this. It's crazy. A lot of scammers, you get the point. I love Discord, but when I moved over to Skool, it was revolutionary. And I can manage way more people, coach way more people with far less resources. That's what I love about Skool. And that's why I've been striving to tell people about Skool as well, and helping other organizations that are coaching or teaching or whatever the case is. And it's actually, I'm getting a lot of a positive reinforcement for that. And so it's beautiful, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're doing an unbelievable job. You have been holding down the leaderboard from the very, very get-go of this month. Like, it's 19th of March, the time this is recording. You've already broke 20K monthly revenue, which is insane. How did you come across Skool? You kind of hinted at it, but what were you doing before? What were you using for communities before?
Yeah, so basically, the first crypto cycle, I did okay, but the second one, I really started making millions of dollars, coaching people and as well as trading. And I used everything. I mean, I've used Facebook, I've used Telegram, I've used Slack. I've tried everything, and every time I move from a different platform, I lose a whole bunch of members. Long story short, my goal was to get people results. And I realized the best way you can get somebody results in coaching, somebody needs to write this down. If you're new, write this down. The best way to get somebody results is to get them to interact, to get them to use it. If they're not using it, if they're not, engaging in the community, if they're not watching the videos, there's nothing you could do. So the by far best thing you could do is get a software that tries to force users to use it. So I tried everything, man. And I've been watching Sam Ovens for a while. I remember he made a video back in the day, how to have monk-like discipline. And that was a video that really resonated with me. And I used to teach my employees, these principles and things of that nature. And I remember he dropped this software, just low key, not even a lot of promotion. Skool, he just dropped it. And I'm like, what is this? And I started looking into it. And at that same time, I was looking for ways to bring the engagement up in my group and things of that nature. And I saw that it was just like, there's this one feature he had, which now I don't care too much about, but back in the day, it was like everything for me. And it was the calendar in the actual software. So the beauty of that is that you could actually get these live Q&As or whatever the case is right in the software. Before I would have to send emails, I would have to ping people in Discord. It was all over the place, and it was hard to get everybody riled up into one, meeting. But with Skool, they had that feature, and then he had other features, not to go into too much detail, but I actually ended up not adopting it. And the reason why I didn't adopt it, because I put out a pro and cons list with all of the people in my organization. And the main problem at the time, which he solved, by the way, the main problem was the payment processing.
Right.
It wasn't there. And not only that, but like I've already moved like 4 groups and I've lost a whole bunch of revenue every time I moved. And we just didn't end up adopting it. But long story short, this is the beauty. When you see the business come down, when you see hard times, that's when you get really efficient. So hard times came for crypto. Market starts falling. Things start happening. I'm starting to let go of employees, this, that, and the third. And I have to get very efficient. And then Skool comes back up in the mix. And I'm like, okay, what can I do to cut costs, keep the efficiency or increase the efficiency? And yeah, I ultimately ended up adopting Skool, and it was the best thing. And I'm not saying this, guys, if you're watching this video, I'm not saying this because I'm getting paid. I do not accept paid sponsorship. If you know that about me, guys, if you know this about me and my crypto journey, people have offered me $50,000 to talk about a coin, one video, 15 minutes. I do not accept paid sponsorships from nobody. If I say something, I actually believe it and I mean it. Skool by far is the most revolutionary platform for education I have ever experienced in my life. And I've been doing this for a very long time. And so when I adopted it, it made it so much easier. It saved so much of my time. It went from like spending 30 hours a week coaching to like 15. And then I could like cut people. And then with the Loom integration, it was just crazy. Before I was just doing Zooms and I was manually uploading it to YouTube unlisted. I was like, it was crazy. But yeah, that really changed the game for me and made everything way more efficient.
Well, it's a form of leverage, isn't it? And for us to access code as a form of leverage, before we would have to build something out ourselves. Whereas now Skool just provides it for us and we can leverage whatever the niche is. In your case, it's crypto. I love your integrity there around the sponsorship. Why is integrity so important to you? Because there's a perception and a reality in your niche of a lot of snake oil salesmen and things like that. But that aside, like on a personal level, why is integrity important to you?
It's important to me because, I'm a Christian. So I believe in like being honest. Like being as honest as you possibly can, even if it comes at a loss of funds or a loss of popularity. To me, I don't do things for myself. I don't do things for my business. I honestly don't even do things for my family. A lot of people go into that. I do things for God and God does everything else for me. So to me, honesty and integrity, not on a corny religious level, just to be clear with you. I see your face. Everybody's face shifts when I say things like this. No, I've gotten countered by God, like in real life. And I believe that everything I do is for him. So when someone comes to me with 100 grand, 200 grand, entices me with these things, I know that on the surface level, that could all be achieved by just a relationship with Jesus. So it doesn't bother me, as it used to, by the way. It used to a lot. And I used to have to fight these things back in, my first cycle or my second cycle. I used to have to fight with lust and greed and things of that nature. And it did bother me and it did shift me in a lot of ways. But the reason, just to answer your question, the reason why integrity is so important is because we're all going to die one day. And who cares, right? This is just like the video game, right? We're all trying to get some extra credits. But why lose your soul to gain the world? What's the point of that? If that makes sense to you. But I had a hard time with this. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off.
No, it's awesome. I really want to zoom in on a bunch of stuff here. I love where this interview's going.
Yeah.
You say people fall into the trap of doing things for their family. Unpack that, because that's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I do things for my family just to get a little bit deeper. I love my family. But the thing is, what happens is a lot of times it becomes unhealthy. It becomes an unhealthy tie, right? So for example, there's broken relationships all over, right? We know this. Divorce rate is crazy, especially in today's society, right? Things happen with your children where you can't control, right? So the only thing, this is what I believe, there's a system. It's called the gospel. And the system is outside of our realm. And it's a perfect system in my personal perspective from what I've experienced in reality. And I put my faith in that and not anything of this world. I love my family, but to me, it goes God, family, then business. So if I hinge everything on what God's doing, I know he'll protect my family because he's perfect, right? So at the end of the day, I don't believe that I protect my family. I don't believe I create my business. I don't believe that the new MRR that you guys see came from me. I put in the work. I put into action. I believe in putting in work like crazy, man. That's all I do is put in work. I put 14-hour days. we had to go back and forth just to get on this interview because of
dude.
time constraints. I do the entrepreneur thing, but there's just a different structure, a different hierarchy in my life, and what comes first is God, if that makes sense.
Do you feel like that liberates you from the crushing lows of entrepreneurship, but also the dangerous highs that can come?
You actually hit it right on the head. Because if you do it for vain glory, if you do it for yourself, you do it for your family, you're susceptible to attacks. All types of attacks, like what you just said, being overly prideful. I actually went through this firsthand. I made $5 million in my business at the age of 25, 26. It was like $5-6 million. And I was at the highs of this world. I mean, man, I was a bad person, bro. Like a very, very bad person. By a VIP in Miami. I mean, even before I made the millions, I was selling drugs. I was doing basically the entire hood rapper lifestyle. I grew up in the hood. That's where I grew up. I used to rob people. I did everything like the delinquent, horrible way. And as soon as I moved over to business, I started putting in work and started reaching success in that as well. And I realized that even at the top of the world, having all the money, I mean, a lot of people say they're a millionaire, but I was a million liquid
right.
in my bank account.
Yeah. It wasn't in like 2 properties that you hardly even own. It was just like, no, you had it right there.
Yeah, because I trade crypto. So I had liquid millions of dollars. Like this is public information. You can look at it on my YouTube. Like I used to trade 100 grand live on YouTube and things like that. And having all that money at a young age and just coming from this broke down area of my life and then coming to millions, like you really experience the lows and highs of life. And when I was up there, I had no satisfaction, no fulfillment. My life was lost. It was actually even more lost than when I was broke. So yeah, long story short, I've experienced big attacks, and I had to let go of all of it. I've let go of all of it at this point, and given it all to God, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So, I mean, given everything that you've shared, it's an easy assumption to say that like service is important to you. Serving other people is important. You want to be a force for good in the world. There's got to be people in your community, man, that are like, Alex, like crypto? Really? That's the way you want to serve people? That's the dent you want to make in the universe? So like, why crypto? Why that niche? And why do you see it as a vehicle to bring about a positive change in someone's life?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So a lot of people, they look at crypto, but that's like 5% of the equation. Mm-hmm. What people don't really understand is that cryptocurrency is bringing the new infrastructure of the internet. I'm going to say it again because people don't really understand what I'm saying. So what I'm doing right now, I'm not a crypto guy. I'm a futurist. There's a difference. So what's happening is I'm the guy that adopted the internet with a tinfoil hat when nobody else wanted to do it back in the day, and they used to call it computer phobia. When it used to be a literal an actual mental disorder to want to do things on the internet, that's what I'm doing right now. Cryptocurrency is just the surface level what everybody else sees. But if you look at distributed ledger technology, blockchain technologies, this Skool platform, I believe eventually will have to adopt it. I believe every business on earth will have to adopt blockchain or distributed ledger technology because of the benefits that come with it. This is very important to understand. So I'm not a crypto guy. And I believe that the entire internet, the entire financial system, anything that retains value in physical reality that can retain value on the internet will adopt the blockchain, including all of your jobs, including every deed, every landlord, every transaction in the world, basically will be on the blockchain. So I'm just adopting it a lot earlier. Maybe 10 years, 20 years, we'll see this crazy stuff. But, yeah, I'm just on the cutting edge, I guess.
So one of the things that you do to stay really like keep your finger on the pulse of your communities and your audience in general is you do a lot of DMs. Like a lot of people, once they hit a certain level, they'll just like forget about it. They're like, I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to respond, or I'll farm it out to somebody else. Why is it so important for you? And why do you dedicate so much time to putting in the hours and putting in the work in your DMs?
So I don't know how you got that metrics, but yeah, it's true. I do a lot of DMs. It's because primarily there's so many people that ask me stuff on Instagram, and I just cannot answer it. Like on my social medias, I can't. It's gotten to a point I've tried to answer them. I just knock out like 50 a day, but I can't. So I moved over to like, hey, look, if you want me to personally answer your questions, come to my paid groups. There, it's a little bit cleaner. But also I realized that when you answer DMs, I said this to somebody, it was a perfect response. If you want to speak to the people, you actually have to speak to the people. So that's what the DMs are. Like, people get caught up in their head, and that was me, and I can't fall into that. You have to keep your head down. You got to stay humble, right? Like, I'm speaking to the people because I know that these same people that have these personal problems, there's thousands, maybe millions of people having the same problems that I can't speak to. So it's a beautiful situation where you can't get lost in the internet space. You have to like recognize that when you go viral, there's people that have the same problems, that have families that are not better than you or not worse than you. And we're all living in this planet, and that they deserve a good conversation with you, just like you deserve a good conversation from somebody else you look up to. We have to all recognize that we're all on this earth, and just because you got a follower account don't mean nothing. Just because you have money in your bank account, that doesn't mean anything. We're all going to die, and we were all born of our mother, right? That's something we all have. So it's a great business strategy too, not to just get, just being honest. If you guys are talking about money, it's a great business strategy. If that makes sense.
Yeah. And I mean, another great thing about Skool is that it offers a way for you to do that makes sense. And it allows you to actually impact people's lives in a more deeper way as well. So what else has worked for you to grow these communities to the size, and not just the size, but also the depth as well?
The main thing that works is consistency. And then the consistency comes from having a good standard of life, just having a good, solid life. That's what I've noticed. So the consistency of me posting organic social media posts, whether it's a reel or whether it's a long form YouTube video, that's what brings the people in. And then the consistency of answering questions and giving good answers, not just getting it done, but like really taking your time to figure out what problems these people have. And then the organization of that. So it's both, right? So are you talking in forms of the community, or are you talking in forms of the outreach?
Your community, like what has worked in getting people into the community and then getting them to stay, basically?
So in the community, consistently answering questions to a high quality level, and then crafting videos. I used to make courses, just what I thought was the answer, but I realized that like you have to speak to them for real. Like you have to answer their problems. So what I've been doing is I'll answer their questions, and then I make a video around that and I add it to the course. And that right there is amazing, because it really does solve the problems that they have right now, right? If that makes sense for the new members. So the new members come in, they're like, okay, for example, a big question that I have in crypto is, am I holding the right altcoins? Okay, I made 3 videos that answer that in extreme detail. And then I put it in my course. And as soon as they come in, that's like the first question, even though me and you know, that's probably not the greatest first question, but I answer it because I know that if, it can lead to a deeper level of research for them, which ultimately leads to results. So it's kind of like getting on their level, making the course around their level, and staying consistent in that area, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you are actually staying connected to what people need and want rather than what you think they need or want, because the gap between those two things are often massive.
It's true. It's true.
What else has really worked for you in terms of what you can share for other community owners on Skool to make their communities better and get more people in?
You actually have to be good and innovating in what you're doing. So I know that's a hard one, but I actually have proprietary research methods that you can't find on YouTube, for example. So I'm a crypto researcher guy, right? So there's actual proprietary content, meaning when these people see it, they're like, oh snap, I watched 5 other crypto YouTubers and nobody gave me this, and it's actually correct.
Right.
So that's a big one, is there's a lot of people trying to copycat. There's nothing wrong with that. We all have to start somewhere. But like actually putting in the work to innovate and not doing it for a surface level. A lot of people just do these things just to make money, just to have the online business and financial freedom. I get it. Those are byproducts. But you truly have to be good at what you do. And you could be good. Like I've been in crypto for 8 years. It doesn't take 8 years to be good in crypto. You could be good quicker, but you have to do it for the right reasons. This is where the innovation comes from. If that makes sense. Does that make sense? The innovation,
yeah, it does make sense.
It comes from you like actually caring, like sitting there so when you wake up, perfect. I wake up in my day, right? I get to school and I'm sitting here thinking, what do I do that will get the biggest benefit, right? That's what all entrepreneurs, especially school guys, this is what they're doing. Does it come from a place of, I want to increase my revenue and get more followers? Or does it come from a place of, I want to innovate in this specific niche and give value to them for real? You have to check your heart. Like, what are you doing it for? And if you do it for a vain reason, you will fall like I did and lose millions of dollars. And you don't need to go through that. Last cycle, I did it for vain reasons and I fell. I lost it. I had to let go of a whole bunch of employees and go through this whole cycle of pain. But now I realize that, like, if you do it for the right reasons, it's not going to fall, and it's going to go for a long period of time. And
that's the crazy topsy-turvy nature of this, is that actually when you put innovation first, everything else actually grows in a more healthy way. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know who said it, but it's like, there are no shortcuts. That idea of, like, sometimes the fastest way is actually just like the long, hard, stupid way. And like all these get rich quick stuff, it just never works.
It's really true though. I mean, you could do the get rich quick stuff. I get it. Like there's things that will get you going. Like, and that's what got me going early on, to be honest. Like somebody hit me with some type of course to get, results quick. I got the results. It was great. And I would never do anything different. Like the fall I had was amazing. It was great. I'm so glad I lost millions because it taught me everything I should not do. But like what you said, you can't get too caught up into that. You have to eventually sit down and do the hard, dirty work that nobody wants to do, and then find love in that. And if you could do that, I mean, it's. I think both are good. I don't want to trash the shortcut because I've seen actual things that I do and it works and it for real work. So I can't. It's like a small win for people. Sometimes they need that small win. They don't have the faith to pull off a 7-year marketing strategy, right? Sometimes they need a 30-day marketing strategy. They do.
Sure. And
if it works, then they have their faith increases, and then it can take it a little bit more serious. So both of them work. But what you said, the essence of what you said is correct. The foundation of just doing the innovation, hard, dirty work is the answer, ultimately.
Yeah. So you mentioned you kind of swapped platforms multiple times, and you lost followers and revenue and churn and all this sort of stuff along the way. What was it about Skool that like gave you the confidence where it's like, no, this is a jump worth taking? And why the Skool Games?
So the big thing was the payment processing system. Mm-hmm. So people don't understand that I had to hire basically a full-time person, part-time, like 20 to 30 hours a week of them simply removing people from my groups and following up for payments. Like just that's it. Like people don't get it. I try to tell people, there's people all the time. They're like, Alex, you made this group, you're making some good money. I want to make a group. What do I do? And I'll send them to school and they're like, it's $100 a month. But I'm like, do you want to hire somebody for $40,000 a year to remove people from your group? So I try to, that's one big reason. That was a huge reason for me. So if you guys didn't know, if it's your first, ring around school, the payment processing is like a no-brainer, because if they don't pay, they get this red thing like you didn't pay, and then they automatically get removed from the group unless they settle their debt or whatever they owe. Mm. That right there was a manual process before school. And I don't know, maybe you could tell me, I don't know of any other software that does it. There was one software I saw that did it, but it wasn't a software. They actually hired someone to do it for you, and then they'll charge you like 10% or some crazy number. So I don't know how he cracked the code, but he did it. And it works amazing. Sam Ovens, shout out to you for doing that. That was one of the biggest features. And then you said, why the Skool Games? Alex Hormozi has been, I've been following him for a while. He really knows his stuff. I've learned a lot from him. And, it just gave me an upvote of confidence when he decided to invest in Skool. When he did that investment, I just wanted to be a part of it. And I was like, oh, what is this? And I jumped in and I saw that you guys had a contest. And I'm like, okay, let's try to win. That's basically the gist.
It's awesome, dude. And I mean, you're absolutely killing it. You're off to an unbelievable start. Like we said at the top, it's the 19th of March. Are we in the 10 days left? We probably are. So like we're getting down there. Are you gonna be going for number one? Are you happy to go top 5? Like
I'm going for number 1. So I'm gonna be pushing really hard. Last couple of days I took a little break, but I'm gonna be pushing very hard. Last 10 days, I'm gonna go all out. My goal is to get number one just because I like winning. I don't know about you. Do you like winning? I like winning. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to try to get the second group in the top 10 too. That's my goal.
Dude, one group's not enough. You mentioned the third group. What, down the line, is third group going to be high ticket, or, what's the thought around that? Yeah.
Super high ticket. It's because crypto's getting pretty crazy. And then there's some big dudes with these guys have like way more money than me. Like there's guys coming with $50 million, $100 million cash, liquid, like I'm ready to go. And I'm like, okay, well, those guys need like a special accommodation. So if I were to make another ticket, I'd probably do like a high ticket, super high ticket.
Awesome, dude. I love it. The back end. Final question, dude. This is a very random place to end, but it's always been curious to me.
Yeah.
Ever since I saw on the leaderboard, is your bio here? The wealth of the wicked will be stored up for the righteous. Talk to me, dude.
Yeah. So it's from the Bible. It's in Proverbs. So basically, it's something that it really helped me through time. So I'm going to give you a brief explanation of my testimonial, just a brief one. So long story short, I really did make a lot of money very early, and I couldn't control it. I had like a Rob Dyrdek's fantasy factory, like warehouse. It was crazy, man. I used to go to VIP and clubs. I used to do a lot of drugs, like basically Wolf of Wall Street style lifestyle, like seriously. And it brought me to this place of pure desperation. It brought me to turmoil. It didn't give me any satisfaction. If anything, I realized, dang, I spent my whole life climbing this mountain to realize that it has nothing to do with life, and that it was all vain, and it was lame, to be honest with you. It was stupid. And I didn't realize, I basically could not find the meaning of life. So I went through this 3 to 6 month period of just like really trying to figure out the meaning of life. Like, what is going on here? Like, why do I keep spending 16-hour days, 14-hour days? Why do I keep waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning? What's the purpose? I could retire my entire family right now forever. Why do I keep going? And it really drove me insane. It brought me to this level of like, it was crazy. And I was just questioning everything at that point. So long story short, I got encountered by God. So no corny religious stuff. I didn't go to a church. I do not believe in religion. I did not go to a church. I did not open the Bible. None of that. I got encountered by a supernatural being in physical reality that said he was Jesus. And it changed my entire life and perspective on everything I have ever known. I was shaken to my core. I've seen things I cannot explain to you. But I'm perfectly sane, right? 22 K MRR, right? I'm a sane, right. So there's a lot of, like, you see the Kanye West, you see these guys wilding out doing crazy things, but it's like, okay, how many of them do you need to see? You ever heard of near-death experiences?
Yes, sir.
There's like, hundreds of millions of people that claim the things that I'm claiming. So long story short, it brought me closer to God. And through all of this pain, through losing a whole bunch of employees and money, because it says in the Bible, with great pride comes a great fall. I experienced that firsthand. Through all of that pain, misery, and turmoil, I found comfort in getting close to Jesus and letting go of everything I thought I loved. And I let go of all of it. So the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. There's a lot of wicked in crypto. Evil, my brother. Like, when I mean evil, I've seen it firsthand. I've gotten hacked. People have come to my house. My Zoom call got hacked and displayed porn. I've gotten my cryptocurrency robbed from me. My life threatened. My baby's life threatened. I've gone through pretty much everything. Crypto is the wild, wild west of finance. And if this is like hundreds of years ago when they were establishing the United States dollar, and you had politicians going at it with each other on what dollar is going to be adopted. If you don't think people's life were getting threatened, if you don't think people were getting bombed, this is real. This is real. That's what cryptos are. A whole bunch of random currencies and influencers backing them, all developing these crazy organizations called decentralized autonomous organizations. And if they don't like what you're saying, they will come for you. And they came for me. They came for me you guys can watch my testimony on my YouTube video. I talk about it, all that. But long story short, bro, I do believe that there's some wicked people, and I do believe that the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. And righteous means right standing with God. And he showed me a lot of that, if that makes sense.
Alex, I've loved this, man. This is not where I thought this conversation was going, but I'm totally here for it. Glad that we had the chat. Final question, just to try to attempt to put some sort of a bow on it.
Yes,
like,
sir.
what's next? Like, when you look into your future, like, what do you want and what do you feel like your mission is for the years to come?
So I'll just give you the plan. Scale this up. Scale this up as big as possible. Create a research group. I'm creating a world-class research group. That's what CoinPix Inner Circle is. I'm only allowing 300 members after that, no more. As soon as I get the best research group in crypto, I've already created a hedge fund. Scale my hedge fund up, go public, and then from there create software and tools around it. At that point, then I decide to go, further or wherever I want to go. But it's really to dominate crypto, man, and find the best 100x altcoins. That's the goal here.
Dude, you're the first person I've talked to who is creating a world elite research group from their school and using it to pivot and launch into a hedge fund. Bro, I love this platform. Unbelievable. Well, look, thank you so much for listening. There'll be a link to Alex's communities in the description of wherever you're listening. And other than that, Alex, thank you so much for your time, dude. Really appreciate everything you've shared on the professional, the personal, the whole shebang. It's been really interesting, and I appreciate you showing up.
Thank you for interviewing me, man. Thank you so much.